It's Sunday.
Time for the cardio. Hello. Hello, Ellen. I like that blanket. I want one. So really quick, you guys, super excited. A little while back, I did an interview with Campus Protein, and they have posted it as their Motivation Monday post. Yay! So yeah, if you guys want to get to know me a little bit more, know about my training, how I got started, all that stuff, then head over to Campus Protein's website. I will also post the link to this interview in the description box below. And then just for some reference, if you guys ever have a question about a video and like what's in it or what I'm using in it, make sure you check the description box first before you leave a comment, because I put a lot of, information in that description box regarding stuff that goes on in the video. So make sure you guys read that. Yeah, head over to Campus Protein and check this out. I'm so excited. Hey guys, welcome to day 7? Day 7 of Vlogmas. Here we are, we've made it a week. We only have, 18 more days to go? Okay. So today I want to talk to you guys. I really like these sit down conversational videos. I'm in my mom's bathroom right now because I'm just trying out different spaces and seeing what I like. So I want to sit down and have a conversation with you guys. You guys really responded well to the confidence talk video. So I wanted to talk to you guys today about another mindset related type thing. So if you don't already, make sure you go check out Ellen's channel. This is not a shout out by any means, but she's one of my really good friends, LB Fit Body, El Chaplo, El Best Fit Body. If you don't know her, you should, because she's one of my favorite people on the planet. But she posted a video the other day about a book she's currently reading, and I'll post a link to that first video in the description box. But I have been wanting to read this book for well over a year, and I've always meant to buy it, but I just never got around to it. So I watched her video yesterday and I took it as a sign. I was like, this is a sign from the universe that I'm supposed to go get this book today. So I called Books and Company. I was like, yo, do y'all have this book? And they said yes. So I was like, oh my god, I'll be there in 20 minutes. That book is Girl Boss by Sophia Amoruso. She is the founder of Nasty Gal, which is actually one of my favorite online retailers. But I started reading this yesterday, and if you saw my Instagram post, you will know that. But you guys always ask me about, books that I read and all of that jazz. So this is one that I'm currently reading and currently loving, and I just wanted to talk about something in it that, inspired a video for today. What I want to talk about today is failure. And if you see this is a page from the book. There are secret opportunities hidden inside every failure. You guys know, I'm sure you've heard the common cliche phrase. Sometimes I really like cliches and sometimes I'm like, no, this is stupid. This is a situation where I'm like, no, this is stupid. And that phrase is, never a failure, always a lesson. Let's dive right in. The reason I have a problem with this phrase is, I don't know, I feel like, kind of like I talked about in the confidence video, I feel like as a society, we're always trying to mask the bad things. And when in reality, you don't need to mask it, you just need to recognize it for what it is and then do something positive with it. When you say never a failure, always a lesson, you take and you completely bypass the fact that you failed at something. You're trying to cover it up by just saying, oh, it's just a lesson, I didn't actually mess up or fail or anything like that. No, you still messed up, or something went wrong and something didn't go the way you wanted it to, something failed to happen. You can't just mask that by calling it something else. You can only grow when you acknowledge something as what it is. So like I talked about in the confidence video, you can only grow and become a more confident person and harbor more self-love if you first realize and acknowledge that you have a problem. So the only way you're ever going to learn from failure, the only way it can ever become a lesson, is if you acknowledge that it is a failure. We're just going to break apart what it means to fail, what you can do with it, and I want to talk in, my personal experiences. Last night I kind of sat down and thought about, okay, what are some instances where I failed, and what opportunity did I find hidden in that? I jotted down some of my many failures. One failure that I think a lot of you will relate to is school. So when I started out, my first semester at college was, to me, kind of a failure. Sorry, Logan's down here and he's making a hi, sweetheart. I had to bring him up here because he like gets super duper lonely and he'll just bark the whole time if he's not like in the room with someone. The first college that I ever went to was Miami University in Oxford, Ohio. So at the time when I first started college, I was in what I would call a toxic and controlling relationship. Buddy, it's okay. You can make it. It's alright. So I was in a bad relationship. It was a controlling long distance relationship. And as a result of that, I isolated myself. I didn't make friends. I didn't make friends. I didn't go out. I didn't connect with anyone because I let that person control me and dictate what I do. Okay, he's leaving. If you start barking, I'm gonna be pissed. But I let that relationship dictate all of my actions. So I didn't enjoy my first semester at college at all. I spent the majority of my time by myself. I didn't make friends with the girls in my dorm. I didn't go out. I didn't meet people. And I just had a really miserable time. Bottom line, it was seriously so bad that my parents literally came to visit me, or I went home almost every weekend of that first semester just so that I didn't have to be by myself. And there was actually a time when my parents came up to school and were like, Emily, are you okay? Like, you need to interact with people socially. Like, you can't seclude yourself. But I was like, I'm not allowed to hang out with people because X person says I can't go out and that I can't do this and that I can't do that, and I let that person control me. And that plays into a big part of my self-confidence now because I got out of that, but that can be a whole different video. So I came home for winter break, and it was actually, I loved time home on winter break. You know, the two best friends that I had at the time lived back here, and I was just so much happier being at home. And in the days leading up to going back to school, I just cried because I didn't want to go back there. I didn't want to be lonely again. I was getting ready to start my first prep for my first show, and I just didn't want to be in that environment anymore. And I was still in this relationship at the time. So literally the day that I was supposed to go back to school, like classes started on Monday, I left home on Sunday. That morning, I had already emailed my advisor, you know, being like, hey, I want to withdraw my submission, or I want to withdraw my admission from the university. And I was so scared of talking to my parents about it because I knew that not going back that semester, since I hadn't applied anywhere over break, since it was like a last minute decision, literally last minute, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to go to school for a semester. And my mom especially is super big on school. Like, very big. I was afraid that she would like kick me out of the house, but thankfully she didn't. 20 minutes into the car ride, it was just me and my dad. I had all my stuff packed up. 20 minutes into the car ride, I just lost it and started bawling. I was like, Dad, I can't go back there. I hate it. Oh my God, it's the worst place. Don't make me go back. Like, I already withdrew my admission or whatever. And he was like, all right, well, we'll just turn around and go home. If we're talking about failure, that to me was a failed experience. You know, I failed my college experience. For the first time, and luckily I have not failed at the one that I'm in right now. So I came back home, I transferred back home, and I had to take a semester off of school because it was too late to enroll anywhere. I was in a really awkward place in my life. Like, I was confused, I didn't know what I wanted to do next. And so I just kind of put all of my focus into working and prepping for my first show. Especially after that toxic relationship ended, I just put all of my focus into working, training, prepping for my first show. That was when my social media kind of started to grow. Like, it probably didn't start to grow until like June of that summer. It was when things kind of started to take off a little bit. But I just invested my energy in other things. So where I failed with school and, you know, making friends and making relationships and enjoying my college experience for the first time and, you know, having to come back home, like, that was a failure to me. But the opportunity within that, I prepped for my first show. I fell in love with bodybuilding. I got out of that toxic relationship, which I probably wouldn't have had the strength to do if I had returned to my first university, just because I would have been back in that environment where I wasn't allowed to do anything. I didn't have friends, and like continued the pattern that I was in, the toxic pattern that I was in. But being at home, being with my friends, you know, being in an encouraging environment, and pursuing fitness like hardcore, that gave me the strength to get out of that relationship, to start my fitness and competing career, to work and make money so that I could return to school the next year, semester, whatever. Just overall improve my quality of life. And if I had not transferred back home, then I never would have gotten my job at Next Level. I never would have met Eric. I never would have started Olympic lifting. And all of that has become who I am. So that's a big part, you know, that's a big opportunity that would not have been made had I not failed, basically. If I had succeeded at that, had I not failed, I wouldn't be where I am right now. And that's kind of the main point of this video is, you know, if you don't fail at something, your failures bring you to where you are, and regardless of your failures, where you are can still be a beautiful place. Like, kind of smaller scale failure, last December when Eric first took over, he took over my programming in November of 2014, but I was going through a really rough squat cycle, and I was at the end of that squat cycle, and it was literally, I think, 3 days before I had to max out and like test my new max, and I was doing, I think it was a 3x3, and in the second set of my 3x3 I re-tore my hip, and so I had to take some time off of squatting. I had to go back to physical therapy, all that stuff. But in the process of not being able to squat for a long period of time because I failed at that squat and got hurt, we figured out that, you know, there were some issues with my bar path, there were some issues with the movement patterns that I was moving in while squatting, and as a result, we kind of got to start from square one when I was able to start squatting again and fix all of those issues. So I came back in, you know, what was that, September, October, and squatted 250. Like, if I hadn't failed at that, in that squat cycle, I would have probably continued my poor movement patterns. I would have continued to have a nasty bar path, and just things would have continued to go wrong with the potential of even more injury down the line. And because I failed at that squat, I got to basically relearn my squat technique. And like I said, I came back to later hit a 250 back squat, and I'm a much stronger lifter now. So yeah, like, my injury taught me to relearn my squat pattern and to be a better squatter in terms of how I move. So not just moving more weight, but moving better. So that was a huge lesson. That was a huge opportunity that I wouldn't have had I not failed at that squat and got hurt. But you know, we've all had, if you've tried fitness on your own before, we've all had failed attempts, and I'm not exempt from that. So I've had so many failed attempts at like fitness and weight loss and everything like that. Like, I've tried the whole like super bro thing. Ooh, sorry, my stuff's falling. Like, I tried so many different things, especially when I was first starting out, and I failed multiple times, and one of the big ones was right before I went to college for the first time. That was when, actually, because I spent so much time by myself, I did a lot of research into training and fitness and nutrition and all of those things combined, and that's when I first came across Layne Norton. So I had been trying the bro thing for, you know, months and months and months, and I still like did not like where I was physically or with training or with my nutrition or anything like that. And that was when I stumbled across Layne Norton and his videos and his articles and his knowledge. And that is what brought me to learn about flexible dieting and about macronutrients and about just nutritional science in general. Helped broaden my knowledge on it. So I was, you know, I'd failed so many times at trying to reach my fitness goals that it forced me to learn and research. So that opportunity was finding Dr. Norton and learning, you know, like learning from him, learning about macros, learning about flexible dieting. And my success as a competitor now, and as just an athlete in general, I attribute a lot of that to flexible dieting, because obviously your nutrition as an athlete is paramount. So had I not failed at fitness at first, I would never have been forced to learn. And that's a huge victory. That's a huge opportunity. Learning is like one of the biggest opportunities there is. And then lastly, so those of you who have been following me for a while, you know that this last summer, part of my competition season was competing at Junior Nationals. And Junior Nationals is a huge show, tons of girls, well, tons of just competitors in general. But I got like 3rd out of 4th call-outs at Junior Nats. And so that showed me how much work I had to do in terms of where I need to be before I can be a professional bikini competitor. I kind of knew going in that my lower body still had a long way to go, but obviously I was still hopeful to do well, so the fact that I didn't, like, there was a little bit of anger there. There was a little bit of, you know, a lot of frustration. Like, I failed. I got third call-outs. I didn't get a pro card. I didn't get top 5. Like, that was kind of a failure, and I wouldn't exchange it for anything because it was a learning experience because I did not do well. So the fact that I didn't do well and that I finally saw, you know, wow, this is how much work you have left to put in, that really lit a fire under my ass. And basically I busted it before going to collegiate nats. Now with collegiate nats you can't win your pro card or anything like that, but at collegiate nats, after, you know, having a bad experience at junior nationals, like not placing anywhere near where I would want to, that lit the fire, like my failure lit the fire under my ass to do better. And so then I killed it, and then I went at collegiate nats and I won my class. And collegiate nats is one of the best experiences of my life, and like, I don't want you guys to think that, you know, winning is everything, and if you don't win then that automatically makes you a failure, but I'm a very competitive person, and not doing as well as I want to do, that's a failure for me. So I used that, I saw the opportunity in that, and the opportunity in my emotional state, and I was like, well, shit, we're busting it to collegiates. Like, I'm not dealing with third call-outs again, like, I don't want that, and that's okay to say. My failed attempt at junior nationals turned over and turned into the opportunity at collegiates to win. So basically what I want you guys to take from this is it's not never a failure, always a lesson. It's, yes, it's a failure, but it's a lesson and an opportunity, because like I said, you can't expect to grow if you don't acknowledge the things that happen to you for what they are. Whether that's a missed lift, whether that's a poor placement, whether that's a bad grade on a test, like all of those things, like they're real. It's not that they don't exist. It's not that they're, oh, it's not this, it's this. It's no, they're real, they exist. But what opportunity lies there? Because I think at the end of the day, failure, for me personally, just makes me want to be better. It tells you that you have to do something different, and that forces you to grow. I challenge you to be like, yeah, I screwed it up. Great, I failed. Awesome. Where am I gonna go from here? That's the mindset that you should have. Not, oh, I didn't fail, it was just a lesson. It's, no, I effed it up. Okay, where are we going from there? Like, you don't have to stay there. You don't have to wallow in your failure. You can go somewhere with it. Like, that's an opportunity. Every person who has ever done a great thing has failed at some point in time, and they've failed multiple times. That's a part of life. If you fail, welcome to the club. You're a human being. So, yeah, just like with the confidence video, you have to change the way you think. I got so fired up. I'm sweating. Also, this is a Lululemon tank top. I don't think they sell it anymore, but it's the Running in the City tank. For those of you who always ask what I'm wearing, I normally put it in the description box, so make sure you read the description box. But yeah, that's about all I have for you guys today. I hope you learned something from this, and make sure you check out my interview on campus protein. I will link that in the description box below, and I will see you guys on day 8. Love you. Bye.